Hi, everybody. The art of learning to read an EKG begins with learning about waves and segments, because each wave and segment represents a different part of the cardiac cycle. Before we talk about waves and segments, let's talk about how to describe them. Waves are often described as tall, peaked, or flat, but never described as elevated or depressed. Segments, however, are described as elevated and depressed. The waves are named the P wave, the Q wave, the R wave, the S wave, the T wave, and the U wave. The P wave is representative of atrial depolarization in all leads. However, it can show as positive, negative, or biphasic, depending on which lead you're looking at and where the impulse is coming from in the atria. The P wave may also be notched, which represents right atrial depolarization, followed by left atrial depolarization. The next wave may or may not be the Q wave. Q waves can be described as either insignificant or significant. Insignificant Qs are completely normal. Significant Qs are a sign of past myocardial infarction and tissue death. Insignificant Qs are less than 1/3 the total height of the QRS complex, and they're represented by a lowercase q. Significant Q waves are either greater than 1/3 the total height of the QRS complex, or they're wide, and they're represented with an uppercase Q. Following the Q wave, or the P wave if there is no Q wave, is the R wave. The R wave is the first upward deflection following the P wave, and it represents the depolarization of the septum and the left ventricle, depending on which lead you're assessing. The S wave is any downward deflection that follows the R wave. The S wave represents the depolarization of the left ventricular free wall or the right ventricle, depending on which lead you're assessing. The T wave follows the QRS complex and represents the repolarization of both of the ventricles. Much like the P wave, the T wave may be notched. Another wave, called the U wave, may or may not follow the T wave. According to Marriot's Practical Electrocardiography, the U wave does not have a known origin, although there are 3 different theories as to its source. The first theory is that the U wave is the result of delayed repolarization of the Purkinje fibers. The second theory is that it's the result of prolonged repolarization of the mid-myocardium. And the third theory is that the U wave is after potentials resulting from mechanical forces in the ventricular free wall. Segments are periods of time in the cardiac cycle where electrical activity cannot be detected. This occurs at 3 points: between the P wave and the Q wave or R wave, known as the PR segment, between the S wave or the R wave and the T wave, which is known as the ST segment, and between the T wave and the P wave of the following beat, which is known as the TP segment. The TP segment is also known as the isoelectric line. Congratulations, everybody. Don't look now, but pretty soon you'll be reading a 12-lead all on your own. If you would like to learn more, feel free to check out my resources in the description below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to my channel, and until next time, have a great day.